Hey, what's up folks? How's it going? This is Watch. Hope you guys are all doing well. And today we're going to be taking a look at a compact dedicated webcam from BenQ. It's called the DVY21. You can shoot 1080p at 30 frames per second. We're actually shooting with the camera right now, so you can get a good idea in terms of how it looks. It's 88 degrees in terms of field of view, so wider than most of your built-in laptop webcams. And it also has things like omnidirectional microphone that has built-in noise cancellation and suppression. We're obviously recording with the built-in microphone as well, and it really gives things like the Logitech C922 or 920 kind of a run for its money. It is pretty affordable at around $100. And what we're going to do is basically take a look at the key features of it, as well as compare it against the built-in 720p FaceTime front-facing camera on the MacBook Pro. We have the Intel version that we're going to be using, as well as do a direct head-to-head comparison between this BenQ camera and the Logitech 920. Now, firstly, the BenQ DVY21 is a simple USB 2.0 based webcam. It uses a simple Type A connection, which is fully compatible with every operating system you can think of: Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, as well as Chrome OS. It's plug and play and ready for pretty much any software that you're going to be using, whether that's for streaming using OBS, XSplit, or doing Zoom meetings or Skype calls and things like that. You're going to have no issues with compatibility with this webcam, which is going to be a good thing. In terms of its overall performance of the video itself, as we mentioned before, it's fairly wide at 88 degrees field of view. It has an anti-distortion glass lens as well, so it minimizes the distortion at the extreme ends, and it performs very well at. It has an auto exposure system that's probably a weaker system than most other of its competitors. As you can see, if you're in a decently controlled lighting environment that we have over here, it still tends to kind of overexpose things. But again, this is not a camera that has a lot of dynamic range. It's just optimal for voice calls, video meetings, and things like that, or simple streaming purposes. If you want a small little talking head in the corner of your video, it's going to do perfectly for that. And the microphone pickup quality is probably the best I've encountered thus far on a dedicated webcam. Now I'm going to switch over to the Logitech webcam so we can have a side-by-side comparison. Okay, so now we've switched over to the Logitech C920. This is a dedicated 1080p webcam that has been around for many, many years. There's different generations of it. This is the older generation of the C920, but similar performance on the newer C920S and things like that. Super popular dedicated webcam, and for good reason. You can see that the field of view is a little bit tighter than the BenQ. It's rated for about 70 degrees. But one thing that the Logitech does great is its auto exposure system definitely keeps the highlights and shadows more intact. It doesn't blow out as much as we encounter with the BenQ. We're going to move over now to my built-in FaceTime camera, the 720p, on my 2019 version of the MacBook Pro. Okay, so now we switch over to our built-in FaceTime camera on the MacBook Pro. This is 720p 30 frames per second. Now, even though this is an older generation Intel-based MacBook Pro, even the newer generation M1-based MacBook Pro still have a 720p 30 frames per second FaceTime camera with similar microphone array as well. And in both cases with the BenQ and the Logitech, you're getting better audio pickup from the microphones, as well as much better video quality. So even if you're going to be using a built-in webcam like what we find on most traditional laptops like this, it's probably a good idea to upgrade to a dedicated one, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of video conferencing and online meetings and things like that, which is probably going to be the way forward. So investing in one of these dedicated webcams is always going to be a good thing, even with a laptop user. Okay, so now we're back to the DVY21 from BenQ. As you can see, certainly apart from the wider field of view, the camera looks pretty good, especially a big upgrade compared to the built-in FaceTime camera. The only issue, based on my experience thus far, is the auto exposure setting tends to favor an overexposed one. And we're going to switch over to a more naturally lit environment to show you guys just how it favors that kind of condition. Now, I've controlled the lighting quite a bit, but in this scenario, the camera does tend to overexpose skin tones and things like that. Utilitarian standpoint, it doesn't make too much of a difference for a video call, but in terms of the actual visual look, I think the Logitech is faring out a little bit better than the BenQ. But let's switch over to a more naturally lit environment. Okay, so now I've switched over to a more naturally lit setting. We're in this office, and the main key light is just this outside window, natural light, nothing fancy. And the camera definitely fares a lot better in this scenario. Everything is nicely exposed. Nothing is under or overexposed. So in this natural setting, the BenQ is actually doing a great job. Let's switch over to the Logitech and see how it fares. Okay, so now we switch over to the C920 from Logitech, and you can see in this exact environment, it's actually underexposing quite a bit. The highlight information isn't as well preserved as well. So in this naturally lit situation where we're just lit by a window, the Logitech actually is not doing as well as the BenQ based in this environment. And just for fun, here is the built-in FaceTime camera in this exact same environment with natural light. So this is just a reference point for the built-in camera on our MacBook Pro. But besides that, guys, that's really it. Big thanks to BenQ for supplying us this review unit to test out. And if you guys are interested in more information about the DVY21, check out the description down below for more details. From a price perspective, it's fairly competitively priced at under $100 and should be fairly widely available to most people in the US. Check out the Amazon affiliate link if you want to support the channel. If you use our link through that, means it gives us a little bit of commission kickback, helps us make content like this possible in the first place. Big thanks to you guys again for watching and supporting the channel. Make sure you have post notifications turned on and you've liked and shared the video. Thanks again, and we'll see you real soon in the next one. Take care.